You feed it. You clean up after it. You change your schedule because of it. You spend years protecting it. You spend thousands trying to keep it alive. And whenever you leave the house, you feel guilty. Most people call that ownership. But what if we've been looking at this relationship completely backwards? Because what if humans weren't the only species doing the domesticating? What if some animals evolved to make us feed them, protect them, even love them, without us ever realizing it? It sounds ridiculous until you discover how dogs changed human emotions, why cats never actually needed our permission, and why even wild animals have learned to shape human behavior. For thousands of years, we've told ourselves the same story. Humans found wild animals. We tamed them. We bred them. We turned them into companions. It feels obvious. After all, humans built the shelters, filled the food bowls, paid the vet bills, made all the decisions. At least, that's what it looks like. But evolution doesn't care who thinks they're in charge. It only cares which behaviors survive. Sometimes the strongest species wins. Sometimes the fastest species wins. And sometimes the species that learns how to influence another one wins. That's exactly what may have happened with dogs. Dogs are often called humanity's best friend. But friendship isn't an evolutionary strategy. Survival is. Thousands of years ago, wolves began lingering near human camps. The least aggressive wolves stayed the closest. They had easier access to food. They wasted less energy hunting, generation after generation. Those calmer wolves survived more often. Eventually, they no longer looked or behaved like wolves. They became dogs. Most people stop the story there. Humans domesticated dogs. Case closed. Except it isn't, because something unexpected happened along the way. Dogs didn't just change. Humans changed too. Think about what happens when a dog looks into your eyes. It feels normal, almost comforting. But inside your brain, something remarkable is happening. Scientists discovered that this simple eye contact increases oxytocin, the same hormone that helps parents bond with their babies. Your brain isn't just seeing an animal, it's building an emotional attachment. The more connected you feel, the more likely you are to protect that dog, feed it, care for it, even risk your own safety for it. Now ask yourself something. Who benefited from that change? The answer isn't just humans, it's dogs too. Researchers also noticed something fascinating. Dogs have facial muscles that wolves rarely use. Those famous puppy eyes aren't just cute, they're incredibly effective. A slight eyebrow movement, a sad expression, a quick glance, and suddenly, humans find them almost impossible to ignore. The dogs that were better at capturing human attention received more food, more protection, and had a better chance of passing those traits to the next generation. Without realizing it, humans rewarded the dogs that were best at influencing human emotions. Every generation strengthened that relationship. Humans became more attached. Dogs became better at creating that attachment. So who was really shaping whom? Before you answer that, let's look at an animal that followed a completely different path. Because dogs worked with humans. Cats never had to. Thousands of years ago, wild cats wandered into farming villages. Not because they wanted human affection, because humans accidentally created the perfect hunting ground. Grain attracted mice. Mice attracted cats. The relationship started almost by accident. Humans tolerated the cats. The cats tolerated the humans. Neither side planned a partnership. Yet somehow, thousands of years later, millions of people now rearrange their lives around an animal that still behaves like it has somewhere better to be. That shouldn't make sense. Dogs earned our attention by cooperating. Cats earned it without ever becoming obedient, which raises an even stranger question. If animals can influence us in completely different ways, how many other species have figured out the exact same trick? Cats don't usually meow at each other. Adult cats mostly save that sound for humans. Some scientists believe they've developed a special language just for us, not because they forgot how to communicate with other cats, because communicating with humans was simply more rewarding. The cats that were better at getting our attention received more food, more protection, and lived long enough to pass those behaviors on. Once again, Nobody planned this. Evolution simply rewarded whatever worked. But maybe you're thinking, that's just pets. They depend on humans. Fair enough. So let's leave our homes behind. Because this pattern doesn't end at the front door. Imagine walking through a park. A crow lands on a nearby tree. You barely notice it. The crow notices everything about you. Researchers discovered that crows can recognize individual human faces. Not for a few hours, not for a few weeks, for years. Even more surprising, if one crow has a bad experience with a particular person, other crows can learn to avoid that same person as well. That means your reputation can spread through an entire crow community. To them, you're not just another human. You're an individual, someone who's either safe or dangerous. Dogs learned our emotions, cats learned our routines, crows learned our identities, different animals, different environments, the exact same goal, understand humans well enough to make better decisions, and evolution keeps rewarding them for it. Now here's where things become even stranger, because recognizing humans is one thing, influencing them is another. On the island of Bali, long-tailed macaques have become surprisingly clever thieves. They steal sunglasses, phones, wallets, even expensive cameras. At first, researchers assumed they were simply playing with shiny objects. They weren't. The monkeys had figured something out. Humans value those objects. So if they held on to them, humans would offer food in exchange, without anyone teaching them. They invented a simple form of negotiation. The more valuable the object, the better the reward. Over time, some monkeys even became better at choosing which items were worth stealing. Think about that for a moment. Humans changed their own behavior because the monkeys learned what humans wanted. Tourists became more careful. Locals started carrying food for bargaining. One species adapted because another species had learned how to influence it. By now, this doesn't feel like a coincidence anymore. Dogs, cats, crows, monkeys, different continents, different lifestyles, different evolutionary histories. Yet all of them arrived at the same strategy. Learn the humans, predict the humans, benefit from the humans. That's when the original question starts to feel backwards. Maybe domestication was never really about control. Maybe it was about influence. Humans absolutely changed animals. There's no denying that. We changed their appearance, their behavior, even their genetics. But animals were changing us at the exact same time. They changed our emotions, our routines, our habits, even the way we built our homes and cities. And they did it without understanding our language, our technology, or our culture. They only needed to understand one thing: human behavior, because behavior is predictable, and predictable creatures are surprisingly easy to influence. So, do animals actually treat humans like pets? Probably not. Not in the literal sense. They don't think they own us. They don't think we're living on a leash. The truth is much more fascinating. Over thousands of years, some animals became so good at fitting into human lives that we willingly built part of our civilization around them. We feed them, protect them, heal them, miss them when they're gone, and sometimes we even change our entire lives for them. We like to believe that's because we domesticated animals, but maybe that's only half the story. Because if evolution rewards the species that can make another species care for it, then the greatest survival strategy was never becoming the strongest. It was becoming impossible to ignore. And if that's true, the biggest mystery isn't whether humans domesticated animals, it's whether domestication was ever a one-way street. Thank you for watching Vinta.